Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 304. In this episode, we are going to talk about LaQuita Monley. If you listened to the last episode, you know all about her, but she is a coach, a speaker, John Maxwell certified speaker, and she had so much goodness to offer. But today, I'm going to share the 3 reasons why LaQuita is so badass. But before we get there, question. Have you checked out the podcast on Spotify? So Spotify in the last couple months has a feature for video podcasts. And so that's what I've been doing. So the format of the show has changed slightly. So I want to accommodate the video option. I don't know. I like audio, but sometimes it's cool to see the video or to see the interaction. And some people are just more video people and they would rather watch the video. So you're going to have to excuse me. I'm not going to pause this episode every time that I cough, but because it'll probably happen a decent amount. I had COVID. I don't think I told you. I had COVID a few weeks ago, and which is why I missed a little bit for the podcast, but I had COVID and I'm still having like the after effects. When I start talking, sometimes I have to pause, catch my breath, or I start coughing. It's not like a deep cough or anything, but it's still recovering from COVID. So bear with me if I'm pausing because I'll be talking a lot in this episode. So yeah, you know where the coughing's coming from now. So with that, let's go ahead, get to the 3 reasons why LaQuita Monley is so badass. So LaQuita, one of the reasons, or the first reason, is for taking an opportunity without experience. So LaQuita took an opportunity, to do speaking. She took an opportunity to do speaking, but here's the thing. She had never done public speaking before. They had moved and they were talking with their pastor, and he said, "Hey, I would really like for you guys to do a workshop on marriage and leadership." And she's kind of like, but she went ahead and did it anyway, even though she had hesitation, even though she had never done it before. She said her husband had done speaking through work, so he was pretty comfortable with it, but she had not. And you know what? That's stinking badass. That is badass, because so often things come our way and we discount ourselves. We're like, I'm not a professional speaker. Really? So yeah, we discount ourselves and we think that we cannot do things because we don't have enough experience. I mean, technically, she'd been speaking all of her life. It might not be on a stage, but she'd been doing forms of speaking. But people are offering you things. People are asking you things. And sometimes we don't even see them because we have a wall up. And we think like, nope, they can't possibly mean that. Or they just don't know how bad a speaker I am. Or, all the excuses. Or then I'll be terrified. Somebody sees something in you. If they're asking you to do something, then it's because they think you would be good at that thing. Are you dismissing opportunities too quickly? I think that's a common thing, right? Too often we're just dismissive, like, oh no, like you might think that, but you don't know the truth. And we're dismissing our possibility, what's within us. And there's so much in us waiting to come out. But if we keep saying no to opportunities, then we're shutting ourselves down. So I thought it was really badass that LaQuita was like, okay, yeah, I'm in. Count me in. And so then she started doing these speeches or workshops with her husband about marriage. And then she goes, and then from there, it just kind of took off. And so leading one class led to another and another and another. And people really liked what they were offering and they wanted to know more. But she wouldn't know that if she hadn't have taken the opportunity, if she hadn't have taken the pastor up when he said, hey, I would like you guys to do this. Because if she had just said, nope, not for me, then she never would have found out. And here's the other thing is LaQuita is now a certified John Maxwell coach. And so she's gotten certified through her speaking through him. And guess what? You're a badass. You're a great speaker once you get through that certification. So she wouldn't have got that. In all likelihood, she wouldn't have got that if she hadn't started with the speeches at church. So start small. Just because it seems small doesn't mean that it's not badass. You have to start somewhere. And oftentimes we just think this big thing is going to just drop in our hands or drop in our laps, and this big opportunity, and we don't have to put in any work. My experience, that's not how it works, right? We have to put in the work to get the results, or put in the time, right? Sometimes it's just time and practice. It's not that it all has to be grueling. It's just a matter of time and practice. Like how they say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything. So you just got to put in the 10,000 hours. You got to put in the work to figure it out. And if you heard LaQuita on the last episode, you're like, oh, she's a great speaker. She's a badass. This all just came easy to her. But when we talked to her last episode, she's like, no, it wasn't something I had ever done before. She wasn't necessarily comfortable doing it until she got practice. Okay, moving on to number 2. The second thing that is so badass about LaQuita Monley is how she used the Cheetah Girls to move to the UK. She moved from Texas to the UK because of the Cheetah Girls. Yep, you heard that right. So LaQuita's husband got transferred. He was in the military and got transferred. She said we had to pick up and move from deep south and go all the way to the UK. And they had kids. So they're uprooting their kids. She goes, at first, our kids weren't so happy, right? Because we had just got settled. We had just gotten everything. And she goes, and so it was hard to say, oh, we're going to pick up and we're going to move to the UK now. So she used the Cheetah Girls to entice her daughter. And she said at the time, the Cheetah Girls were all the rage. And the movie Cheetah Girls was filmed in Barcelona, Spain. And so she goes, hey, did you know this? And so then her daughter got excited about it. She's like, maybe we will see them. Maybe we'll go see where they filmed that movie. And so she goes, at the time, her daughter was like in 6th grade, and none of her friends had been to Barcelona, Spain to see where the Cheetah Girls was filmed. So her daughter was able to get excited about that. And then she did the same things with her sons. She's like, what do you want to see when we're there? And it had them look up things and get some input of things that they wanted to see, places they wanted to visit. It is so much easier when you get some buy-in. People want to do things if they have some input. It makes it a little bit more exciting. So if you're trying to convince somebody in your life to do something, what would make it exciting for them? Is there a Cheetah Girls movie playing there? Did the Cheetah Girls have a concert in the area? Just kidding. I don't think Cheetah Girls are so popular anymore, but you get the gist. Like, you can pick something that excites you. You can pick something that excites your family and friends about doing things. And sometimes it's a little bit of out of the box thinking. It's not just the ordinary things that you would think of, right? Or the ordinary things that people do. So that was another thing that LaQuita did, is she was like, okay, she stopped focusing on how far they were going to have to move. She stopped focusing on all the hard things, all the bad things that it would take to get from Texas to Barcelona. By the way, side note, every time I hear Barcelona, I always think of the movie with Vince Vaughn, and Owen Wilson. Maybe it was the internship. I think it was an internship, like with Google, and he calls it Barcelona. I don't know. Just me? Am I the only one that thinks that? Okay. Anyway, they didn't focus on all the bad things. She focused on the good things. She focused on, wait a minute. Let's look at this. Do you know that I have never been to England? never been to Europe. So she was like, this is an opportunity for me to go to those places. And this is an opportunity for me to have the government pay for a 3.5-year vacation in Europe. Amazing, right? So she just kind of flipped her frame of mind about it, flipped how she was thinking about it. You can focus on the suck, you can focus on the negativity, but it's just going to bring your mood down. It's going to bring your spirit down. Look for small truths. Sometimes those small truths can still be pretty exciting. Like, oh wait, never been to England. That would be stinking awesome. Find the small truths that can get you excited. Okay. Third reason why LaQuita Monley is so badass is because she leaned into change. So when she got married, if you didn't hear, LaQuita was a teenage mom. And so got pregnant and got married to her husband at a young age. And so he joined the military because they needed to have, he wanted to make a living for his family, right? And so she said, we figured, you know what? This is either going to pull us apart or bring us together. One or the other. Pull us apart or bring us together. And she said, we just made a decision. This is not going to pull us apart. And then she talked to her mother-in-law, and her mother-in-law told her to really, she gave her some advice. Focus on your family. Think of what you want your cultures to be for your family and do those things. Make your own traditions. And so they really were able to make their own family traditions. And some of the traditions they had back home, like in Texas, that they would miss, they took those to the UK with them. Like, okay, we can still bring some of these with us, but sometimes traditions are like a staple. It's the very thing that holds you together. It's like everything is so different around you. You're in a completely different place. So it's scary. What do you do? But if you have that staple, if you have that tradition, certain cultural things, if you have those, then it gives you a feeling of home. No matter where you are, you can feel a little bit more like you're at home. And that's what LaQuita did. And I thought that was so badass. That was genius. And well, her mother-in-law told her, but she implemented it. Her and her husband said, okay, yeah, let's try it. What have we got to lose? So LaQuita and her husband would meet, and they would have meetings like, okay, what can we do? Like, these are the things that we did before. These are the traditions that we have or that we could do. And then how can we transfer that? How can we bring that with us to UK? How can we make that a part of who we are, even though we are in a different location? So, question. What are your family traditions? What is your culture? What are things that you can bring no matter where you are? It's like location independent. It's not just based on one location. Maybe it's having family dinner on Sundays or whatever your thing is, right? You can make your own thing or have an outdoor adventure on Sundays. That sounds fun, or Saturdays, whatever. But you can make your own things. Or once a month, oh, one family member gets to pick something that the family's going to do. And then you all go do it, right? But you decide, you set your own traditions. Be like LaQuita, lean into the change. Change doesn't always have to be bad. It might be different, it might be uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be bad. Okay, quick recap. 3 reasons why LaQuita Monley is so badass. First is for taking an opportunity without having experience. Second is for using the Cheetah Girls as an excuse to move to the UK. And then third, for leaning into change. So I don't know about you, but I love LaQuita's episode. I definitely want her to come back on the podcast. Reach out to me. Let me know. Instagram's usually the easiest place, at Ordinary to Badass. Let me know. Do you want LaQuita to come back on? What questions do you have for LaQuita? Tell me. I want to know the kind of guests that you want on, what you're enjoying, and that way we can get more guests like that back on the show. All right. with that, we'll end our show. All the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.